My room looks pretty clean. I like Dexter because Dexter bought me a nightstand. I moved back in here on February 19th from Oceans Behavioral, Pasadena. You could call it rehab, but these two constables took me from Bentob to Pasadena, and it was like a long ride. But they let me sing along to some Stained on the radio and stuff like that, which is cool. Which reminds me, when I was transferred from Brazoria County Jail to Harris County Jail, my home jail, Poindexter was his name. And I was in a van by myself, but he would play the radio, and so I was really happy because I like music. My dad thinks I'm going to sell the cell phone for drugs. And like, no, I need the cell phone and then Jay, I was just telling Chris about last night, getting out of jail at like about 1 a.m. and there's no trains. This is not New York or LA or Chicago. Like LA. I just want to have a little fun before I die, says the man next to me out of nowhere. Anyways. And I started singing at Positive Recovery rehab. I've never been to rehab, but I've been to psych wards my whole life, ever since I was 18. Oh. And it's funny, too, because my mom took me the first time. Like, I went on an academic trip. I didn't know academic decathlon. I didn't make good grades in school. And one time, it's really pretty, Trisha Waldron, I used to play with her hair in history, Miss Bell's IB history class. And the one time Miss Bell was like, Christian, get to work. And I said, I am working, I know how to work the ladies. Most young men don't know how to work the ladies or whatever. I don't know how to make love to a woman. And that's why Jennifer likes me, because I do. But Jennifer's also really mean. And I told her last Sunday when I was over there, she's the worst alcoholic I've ever met. And I've met a lot. It's my father, who's a functional alcoholic. And now I feel bad for being. See, whenever I hurt people's feelings, even, I feel bad. And I wish I want to redo it or whatever, but I would just get wasted and go into the Shoal Creek. It reminded me of Boy Scouts, the building that they had, and the outdoor, out back was, you smoke cigarettes and drink coffee, which I don't like the hypocrisy of that. I read somewhere that Julian Huxley started AA back in the day, and the great comedian Bill Hicks, who taught me that if you speak your truth to people, they want to kill you. Still true, I used to have a shirt. Harlan didn't like it because he thought it was ugly, but it wasn't. And one time I bought on Udo, I bought a screen printing kit from, some kind of online. Some kind of TV purchase or whatever. And I only paid like $90 on it instead of like $350. But I got the item. But Sarah Woodfield, who we had sex a few times, whatever, before she married Yash, the Indian guy, the Goan guy. She had to spend a lot of money, but I don't like Trump and his xenophobia. Some of these immigrants are here to just make money and send it back home, or for a better life, Anyway, I just lost track of everything I was saying, but I want to talk to Claire because I was on the walk home, and I rode the train. I'm not supposed to ride the train. I have a ticket for for not paying fare and for having an alcoholic beverage at the stop. But then I got frustrated today, and I was happy, being out of jail, but it's funny because I fell asleep. I thought it was the Beacon, which is Angel told me was several blocks over, or I didn't think it was the Beacon, but it's just some homeless people out there or whatever. And when I was homeless in Austin and Houston, I can sleep on the concrete and like my backpack was a pillow. And this morning, or last night or whatever it was, I told Dave that I'm not really sure if it was Monday night or Tuesday night that he sent me to get cigarettes because the time, for juniors as it dilates and contracts, everything is relative. My dad bought me I found at a garage sale, Einstein's Theory of Relativity, special and general, and my dad wrote in it, Christian Wagner Antonio in 1987. And so I was his golden boy, God bless Matt Damon or whatever. Matthew McConaughey. From Olivier to McConaughey. And Brando said, this country has no basis for a theater, I'd rather be poor in Brazil than rich in America. And back in January on the terroristic threat charge, which was bullshit, they said that I said I was going to blow up the hospital. And Fontainebleau, and there I was getting beat up in the tanks. And all these black guys. And on the 5th floor, this guy that I thought was cool or whatever, and he had been in the tanks with me, I said the wrong thing, and he punched me, and I hit the table, and punched me again, and I hit the table. And then there was a young black guy who I was giving my dad's, phone number, and I'm told my dad I'm not going to do this anymore. Phone number, social security number, email, and stuff like that. And our plan was, when we get out, we'll both make each other rich, But you got to remember that 99% of the time, like my friend Aries, Ralph Ellis. 99% of the time, 99% of people are trying to, and Alan Watts talked about spiritual one-upment shit. They're trying to think about how they can one-up you, whether it be money or fame or gold or silver or platinum. And the Chinese are in Africa for rare earth minerals. And I've sold a lot of phones at Eco ATM. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a little automated machine, and this little robot tells you, facts about gold and silver and all that jazz. And my best friend Natalie, we've been friends for 10 years. It's okay. It's at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. I have only 6 minutes left to record, which means I need to swipe which I'm a really good thief. I've stolen wine or beer from Randall's thousands of times. But my friend Saturday, who won't talk to me anymore because he had a baby, which is against our religion. Well, he's a Crowleyite, and I love that Ozzy song, Mr. Crowley. But my drummer is a Scorpio and 1 year older than me, and I mean Tracy got pregnant. I think he was 19 and she was 18 or something like that. It's not my fault that Michelle didn't get pregnant. We had sex on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 1991, when I was 15. I remember being like 15 and like riding on my bike and jerking off and stuff like that. My mom caught me actually in my room once, and it was a little bit embarrassing. My father's mother caught me in her house, and she just kind of laughed. She opened the bathroom door, and then closed it. She laughed. She was really cool. But my dad's a mama's boy, and his mom has been gone. I reached out to Teresina Basali on Facebook Messenger 15 years ago. She said the house is gone, and I saw my dad's pictures from the funeral. It was at Campo Alegre, I think. But the pictures were. So he's jealous he won't admit it, but he's jealous of his older brother, Carlos, is 2 years his senior, who had open heart surgery like 10 years ago, who's doing fine, But he has a relaxed life. And my dad once said he has no planning in his head. He's not a genius like my dad, and I don't like the word stupid. In Portuguese, to say bobo. Like his wife, Valeria Bush, the artist, is a really nice, sweet lady. But he had 3 children, Carlinhos, Angela, who's called Papa, and Fabiani, and I couldn't believe it because I Instagram message Najla, so my dad had the older brother and then an adopted sister, Najla, I guess was her name. And she had 3 children, Najla, Natalia, and João. And I once remember being in downtown Joinville with my stepmother, and my grandmother's like Natalie's grandpams, who died 2 years ago. It's fucked up when you have a support system, and I didn't realize this the last year of my life. Everyone in your support system will leave you to die in a ditch because you won't quit drugs, because you won't get a job. And people don't know, Jennifer, I met her Sunday, September 8th, and she's protected me a lot from getting in trouble with the law with my behavior or whatever. And I was going to paint addresses in her neighborhood. Me and Munir El-Khadem, my best friend since I was 8, who stole my girlfriend and got her on the twag. And apparently Gabby Baba Natalie was a confirmed lesbian when I met her. And Sarah Woodfield, who's a professor of cancer biology, met her and Whitney, who got me the job at Juicy in the Sky with Diamonds. I didn't need a job because I had collected unemployment from MD Anderson. I got laid off in 2011 for about 1.5 years, and then I started selling hydro for 2 years. And because Cash App is interesting, because Cash App you can get fooled or whatever. Aries once, I paid her $20 for a bag, and she said, no, that's the wrong tag. Send it to the other tag. I was like, oh, okay. And in the moment, I'm always gullible and believe what people are saying. And then later, 99% of the time, I'm not stupid. I have a good memory, and I think back and oh, they fucked me over. And my dad's been saying all your friends are drug addicts and alcoholics and drug dealers, and it's true. You got Jennifer, but Natalie's not a drug dealer, but she has a bad problem. She needs to go to rehab, but she won't go to rehab. It's probably the same reason that I didn't want to go. But when Esther, my new caseworker, True Mental Health, they're all really cool. The caseworkers that I've had, they'll take me to my appointments. And Carl's kind of annoying. Because Carl the Nigerian is recorded in my phone. He's kind of slow. Also, my dad had this theory that black people are slower than the white people because, they just have to fish and they're by the equator and they don't have to work hard or whatever. And I always have to reference movies or shows because people don't read. The average person doesn't read anything, especially nowadays with all the too many choices, like Dave Matthews said. My time is running out. And so, I started the video saying that I need to gank that's what my sister called it. My first time I got busted stealing, I was in my Cadillac and I was at a music store and I put a bunch of it was a guitar or cello, I don't remember, or piano music. I just walked out with it, and then but they got my license plate, and I, you know, really fast backed up and drove away or whatever. But they called, somehow they got a hold of my sister Alessandra Paula Antonio, who hasn't talked to me in 2 years, which I don't blame her. You know, like I'm a little annoying, I can get abusive, but there's a reason that I do. Is because there's not a good reason for you to not give them the phone and just say, Christian, I'm busy now. I have a good husband and a good job. She's a realtor in Dallas. She's making that big bucks, you know. And I installed. See, Jennifer was interested in selling her house. It's worth 350. It's I installed it. I like computers and like playing with shit. And the realtor app doesn't charge you anything, and charges and it said her home value was 300,000. When I first met her, she said someone offered her 350K. Now, we're all different, you know. Like her mother was kind of abusive, whatever. But her mother was 100 years old when she passed away, and Jennifer was in prison. She said G went out of prison. She got out last April, and she wanted to put a breathalyzer in her car. She says it's too expensive, but whatever. I think she should. But she bought a brand new, not brand new, but used. And the other day we went to go into a party, and I saw the VIN number on the back